You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. This is a special breaking news edition of the pod. As we just found out, according to Ian Rappaport, Brock Purdy is said to have UCL surgery, elbow surgery to repair his UCL February 22nd. Now, again, this is the repair route. It involves putting an internal brace on that elbow. This is not reconstruction. This is not Tommy John surgery. So that is the good news. The other good news is that Brock Purdy is having this surgery done by one of the best doctors out there to do it, possibly. Dr. Keith Meister. He's a Texans Rangers doctor. And because this is a very common injury for baseball players, pitchers have these injuries quite a lot. It makes a lot of sense for Brock Purdy to go that route. So he will be conducting that surgery for him on February 22nd. Now, today it's February 8th. So you might be wondering, why would they wait that long to have this surgery? Well, for one, there could be some swelling on that elbow that needs to subside before they can, enter the area and, conduct that surgery. So that could be part of the reason. The good thing is we now have a date. And with that comes an actual timeline that we can look towards. Brock Purdy should be able to throw after 3 months, bearing any setbacks. And that is in line with, some things that Kyle Shanahan said as well. So he'll likely be in a throwing program at that point after those 3 months, again, bearing any setbacks, where he'll be able to ramp up. 3 months from today is May 22nd. 3 months from February 22nd is May 22nd. And again, that may not be the exact date that he'll start his throwing program, but just to have a general idea of a range of what we're talking about, May 22nd seems to be around that 3 month mark, right? OTAs usually start around end of May, beginning of June. That doesn't necessarily mean he will participate in OTAs in any capacity. It doesn't necessarily mean that he won't, right? But if I had to guess, I would assume since he'll still be ramping up, he'll still be in that throwing program. If he does participate in OTAs at any capacity, I don't think it will be much of anything. Ian Rappaport did say he should be ready at the start of training camp. Again, the fact that he'll be throwing at the start of May is what allows him to be ready at the start of training camp, right? So, sorry, not the start of May, but around May, he'll start to throw again. So they think he should be ready to participate in training camp. With that being said, I don't think he participates in OTAs. Maybe he's there. He might be present. He might attend meetings and all of that. But as far as throwing, I think based on what Ian Rappaport says, that he'll be ready at the start of training camp. It sounds like that's kind of what they're looking towards, him to be actually participating at some capacity. I wouldn't expect that he would be 100% at training camp, and more than likely he'll probably be on some kind of pitch count where, he's not putting his arm through too much. Again, should still be in that throwing program. In fact, a full 6 months from the injury, which was the reported timeline for, this type of surgery, he would put him at about August 22nd for full clearance if we're looking at that 6 month timetable, right? And that would be at the end of training camp. So to be fully cleared, if we're looking at that 6 month recovery timeline, it would be at the end of training camp. Again, he'll be able to throw after 3 months and he'll ramp up. He will throw at training camp, but won't be fully cleared until about the end of training camp. Week 1 of next season is 6 months and 19 days away from the day that he is set to have surgery, which is February 22nd. So he will have 6 months and 19 days to get ready for the season, essentially. So cutting it a little close. And remember, these timelines usually take into account a best case scenario. They don't have a setback buffer, really, at least generally, I don't think. So any setbacks that Purdy may or may not face could potentially put this date back, right, at any amount of time. So that's something else to keep an eye on. I mean, 6 months is the optimistic approach. Hey, I mean, maybe he has a best case scenario where he comes back even sooner, right? There are sometimes those rare cases, but I don't think we can really know for sure at this time. What we do know is he has a chance to be throwing after 3 months, and he has a chance to be fully cleared after 6 months. So hopefully Brock Purdy heals within the timeline and he regains the same strength that he had in his arm that he had before the injury when it's all said and done. On the other hand, as we've been saying, this is kind of an opportunity for Trey Lance to prove his worth and prove he can be a starter for this team. As, like I said, Brock Purdy may be around for OTAs, but I don't think he'll participate in OTAs. So that gives Trey Lance the opportunity to be the guy, even if it's for a limited amount of time, be a guy to prove that, he could potentially start for this team. In fact, Trey Lance spoke with Rich Eisen today out there in Phoenix for the Super Bowl. And it sounds like Trey Lance is not shying away from the competition at all. And I actually liked what he had to say. So I'm going to share that with you guys here. Let me just make sure that you guys will be able to hear it okay. Here we go.
And I'm excited to just get on the field and compete. So that's all I want an opportunity to do.
So you believe your next few months is about competing for this job?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, everyone
saw what Brock. Brock doesn't just come in and play that well, and I just get handed something out of the blue, and I don't expect that or want that. But I truly believe, I just want an opportunity to compete. That's all I wanted going into this offseason.
All right. And then one other thing that's been talked about, you in particular and the 49ers, is that this team we just saw is ready to roll, ready to win a championship, ready to do everything. The quarterback spot is too green. You still haven't had enough reps. I mean, you haven't played a lot of college and professional football.
Well, that was pretty much the gist of it. But, I mean, you see what Trey Lance said there. First, he acknowledges the fact that Brock Purdy has done a great job. And, I think that takes a lot for him to admit. He basically knows the deal. He knows what's up. He knows Brock Purdy did a well enough job to start. That being said, he also knows, or he also just wants an opportunity to, prove that, hey, I can start too. So, I kind of like the attitude that Trey Lance seems to be, going into this with. He doesn't want anything handed to him, as he said. And so really it's all up to him to see if he can, sway some minds over there in San Francisco, so that, he maybe potentially gets a chance. But again, we don't know what Brock Purdy's going to look like after this surgery, after this injury. Will he have that same strength? Will he be a different quarterback? These are things we just don't know. But what we do know, again, he'll start throwing after 3 months. He should be fully cleared around the 6-month mark, which again puts him right around the start of the season. Not a lot of time for him to get ramped up from that standpoint of being fully cleared to the start of the season. But hopefully the throwing program after the 3 months, he's able to settle in and, improve as he goes through that. And hopefully there aren't any setbacks. That's the biggest thing, right? So hopefully all goes well for Brock Purdy. And short live for me today, but pretty much it was just to tell you guys about this latest breaking news. So I will be going live later today to talk about the other breaking news that we had yesterday about Steve Wilks, and really just talk about him and what to expect as a new defensive coordinator of the 49ers. So that will be going live later today. So I'll talk to you guys then. Make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you guys subscribe. Have a good one, folks. Peace.